Hello, everybody, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Dream Team Tonic podcast. With me for another season is our usual co-host, Ben. You there, Ben?
How you doing, Tony? You right?
All good, mate. And James, you there, pal?
I'm here, mate.
Happy days. All loud, all clear. We're going to use this pre-season episode just to blow a bit of rust off. You'd think we were pros by now. I think we did 31 episodes last year, but obviously this is a couple of months after having a bit of a break, although we did a little bit for the Euros, which was quite a big drama in the end. We probably won't go into that. I've already quite grey, but I do have a trophy to show for it.
Yes.
So it saved me, £5-6 on delivery costs. Now I just need to find a shelf for it in the house. Find it where my missus won't whinge about it.
I would have thought you had it on the shelf behind you there.
No, next to me, just here. Anytime anyone gives me a grief, I'll just keep sliding it into shop. Don't matter. Timo Werner, yeah, that's fine. Don't matter. Got a trophy here. Anyway, big news, obviously, for this season. We've joined up the hub, so all our work and all our pods will be on there. Exciting that once every month we're going to have the Dream Team overall champion Fergie on with us once every month. Usually, probably time for him to give us his transfer plans as well as ours. So probably a week before the transfers come live every month. On our website, we've signed up all the lads from last year. We'll be putting blogs on our sites for all the fantasy games. Dream Team. James will be doing his Dream Team blog. We've got the Sky Fantasy Football lads. We've got a fan team blog and the FPL blogs. We'll also be running the FPL Reaction podcast with Louis and Max still. So that'll be to be on their own channel this time. So they won't be on this YouTube channel, but we will put the link down below so you can give them a follow. If you're not already following us on Twitter, please do follow us at Dream Team Tonic. If you're new to us listening, probably through the hub, please click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. It is appreciated. And hopefully you can enjoy quite a few episodes with us this season. And hopefully we'll help you out somehow. Right, there's the opening out of the way. Let's jump straight into the nitty-gritty, what people want to hear, and how we're going to manage a 10-team multi-strategy. We'll pop over to you, Ben, first. Obviously, you have some really good finishes in Dream Team. How are you going to go about it this year?
Well, I'm just going to look at the first month, really, before the international break and attack it that way. We've got loads of transfers, haven't we? There's only 3 game weeks, so 5 transfers. You can do loads of changes and get yourself ready for September.
Yeah.
Probably at the moment looking at Man United, Liverpool, Brighton, Everton, West Ham. Who else am I looking at? Man City, obviously.
Any Spurs?
Spurs, yeah. The extra couple of games they've got in Europa Conference League.
They're included, aren't they? That playoff game is definitely included.
Yeah, it looks like it. Scoring. Once the season starts, usually any European games after the first match are included, and that includes the playoff, the final playoff round.
Yeah. The confusion last season, weren't they?
Sorry?
The confusion last season, weren't they, about their Europa League game with the qualifier, and Harry Kane scored a hat-trick and it was included.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing is about that worries me about Spurs is because we don't know the manager either. Obviously we do, but not with Spurs. Nuno Santos. Will he play like a second string team in the Europa Conference? Will he drop like your Sons, your Kanes for that? Rotate his fullback.
They're playing, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a pub side anyway.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Bulgaria's 5th best team.
Well, it won't be worse than that, won't it? Well, yeah, 5th probably.
Yeah, it's I just think he's going to want to qualify, though, isn't he? Would he risk? I mean, you don't want to start off with. So you'll have City to play first game at Premier League. Then could you imagine if they then get knocked out of the Europe straight away? I mean, it would be a great start for him. I can't see him risking that.
If I was him, I'd attack the first game and get the 4 or 5 goal advantage, and then rest the players in the second leg.
Yeah. That'd probably be wiser. So, what are you going to do with your 10 teams then, Ben? Are you going to block? What are you going to do amongst them?
Yeah, I've had a little play around. It's not set in stone yet, but
we are a way off, aren't we?
Yeah, I've done a couple of teams where I've picked my favourite players, like talisman players, and then I've gone like Man United block, City block defence, Liverpool block defence, and then I've like looked at Villa's. Villa's got nice fixtures. West Ham, I've like done a mixture of them. You got Brighton's got a nice start as well. Who else?
Scares me you're talking about Brighton.
Yeah, I know, but they have been good, haven't they, defensively?
Yeah, what about Ben White? Ben White going to Arsenal? Is that
what will make him weaker?
Straight off back. Oh yeah,
yeah, could do. Depends what formation they're going to play. If they play three at the back, yeah. But I suppose he's not as good. But they could put Dan Burn in the back three, couldn't they?
He's a big lad, isn't he?
Yeah. He's playing. He plays wing back, doesn't he? If
yeah, he does.
Solly March ain't playing.
Yeah. Strange looking at somebody who's like 6'9" or whatever he is, running up and down the flank.
Ben, are you targeting the League Cup fixtures at all with your thought? Yeah,
definitely, because they've got extra games, haven't they? The teams are not in Europe; they've got one extra game with the League Cup. Difficult
with the to know whether they're going to be rotating again. That's the trouble. I think that'll probably come down to who they're going to play. But when will we know that? Do we know when the League Cup kicks off? I suppose it'll be just after the start of the season, so we might not be able to take that into account.
Last year, I haven't actually checked, but last year it was like all squashed in, wasn't it? In August, they did like 3 rounds in first 3 rounds because of COVID.
Yeah,
but I haven't checked. Anyone going to check it?
Yeah, we'll try and get that checked during the pod. I don't think it's as squashed in this time. I think obviously last time they were in the lead up to the Euros. I think they were trying to get everything out of the way early. I think the League Cup just took a complete backseat. They didn't really care about it, did they? Just threw it together.
Well,
go on, Jit. Go on.
We played Arsenal in the 3rd round, I think, last year, and they played a strong side against us. We got knocked out. Leicester got knocked out. But if they're playing like, I don't know, Darlington or something like that, Doncaster or something like that, they'd probably play a weakened side, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd expect so. Go on then, James. What are you doing? Obviously, you usually play one team and do really well with one team.
This is this is new for me to having multiple teams. I'm kind of following a similar thought pattern to Ben. I mean, it's fairly obvious to go with different block defences for individual teams. I noticed Ben was talking about the Liverpool block. I think that's going to be a tricky one because it's nailing that defensive lineup could be awkward from what I'm hearing because of the centre-back pairings up for grabs at the moment. Van Dijk and Gomez haven't even started training yet, so it's looking like it'll be Matip and Konate that start, but for how long, I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say Chelsea's fixtures are a bit tricky. I don't think they're that bad, personally. And Chelsea, for me, have probably the long-term option for best defensive assets, along with Liverpool once they've got a settled back line. If Man United gets Varane, I think they'll be a lot stronger because Lindelof's a bit of a a bit of a weak link there, I think. I think Varane will make them a lot stronger because I don't normally rate Man United's defensive assets, apart from someone like Maguire, I suppose, that always gets star man and stuff like that. But if they get Varane, then I think they're definitely an option. I'd like to hear Ben's thoughts on the Leicester City back line at some point tonight, if possible. Put some
definitely
potential bargains in there.
Yeah. Go on.
Well, no, I was going to say, of course, a couple of my teams will have a few more differentials in it than I would normally go for. Obviously, my dream team tonic entries will, I'll be a little bit more cautious, I think, because you've got 5 transfers again this season, unlike in previous years. So you can move it around, but I think I'd probably be a bit more cautious with my Dream Team Tonic team, for instance, and then have some more differential wild picks, if you like. Maybe the likes of the Sanchos, then some of the newer players coming to the league. They might hit the ground running. I wouldn't normally put those into my fantasy side.
No.
In any format. But if you're doing multiple teams, you might as well take a few gambles, calculated risks, I might say, here and there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And if they don't pay off, then you can stop concentrating on them and concentrate on your better teams.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You usually have a few teams that will just drop away and, like you say, you just forget about them.
It looks like I've looked at the EFL website. It looks like the first round is commencing on the 9th of August, which is the midweek before the first game of the season. So I would imagine the second second round will be the week after, and then the week after that is the third round. So it must be doing it again 1 week after another.
Mm.
So that'll be Rovers eliminated by the 9th of August.
Hopefully you get Leicester or something.
Yeah, they'll be all right, mate.
Yeah, I'll have to go with that.
As far as I'm concerned, with the strategy, it's screwing me a little bit, but I am as well looking at Aston Villa. Aston Villa's first 3 fixtures, throw in a cup game as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending where Grealish ends up, whether he's going to be starting that first game. It's tricky, isn't it? We obviously having the Euros, England getting quite far. There's a lot of players to come back. You don't know how long it's going to take them, whether they're going to be rested first game, even second game. You don't know how big of a break they're going to get. But yeah, Aston Villa, Emi Buendia, Watkins on penalties. Usually only really an FPL asset or a Sky Fancy Football asset, but I would never usually look at them in Dream Team. But with them fixtures, cup game, I think a couple of the sides.
Yeah,
a couple of my sides. I'll be looking at players like that. Everton, obviously new manager Rafa. It'd be interesting to see whether he continues to get the best out of Calvert-Lewin, who I do think is a little bit overpriced at 5 million. But with the 3 fixtures in the cup game, I think it could be that he's nearly a 6 million player by the end of August. Obviously, with the price rises, I think they continue with the 0.3, aren't they?
Yeah.
Price rises, so quite volatile. Again, same as you, James. I'm interested. Obviously, we'll touch on it a bit later when we go through some player options with the Leicester, because they've got some good fixtures. Obviously in Europe, so it's set you up for September. Obviously, a tricky game at the start of September with the City, but Europe kicks in there. Brighton and Burnley after that. Crystal Palace, some really good fixtures in there. So I think Leicester might be one that could be possibly overlooked. Spurs, another one that are intriguing me. I fancy like I could have 15 teams to start with and have a dabble, but Spurs, obviously a horrible first fixture, but then they've got them 2 qualifying games where they do play quite a strong team. A couple that were like Wolves, Watford, Crystal Palace. I mean, they could be some real dark horses. Have you seen the Spurs prices?
Yeah.
You'd think they were down there with the likes of Crystal Palace and what. Well, they're in Europe. Well, they could be in Europe. They got the European games. New manager. It's looking like Kane's going to leave, but Son's just signed a new contract. They've got some talent there. Got some real talent, and
yeah,
if he can get them playing like it, I mean, when he first got Wolves up into the Premier League, they were a bloody good team. I know they dropped off last couple of years, but still, if Nuno gets them playing, I tell you what, it could be a lot of people trying to jump onto a Spurs bandwagon.
Yeah, and he's got his mate Doherty back.
Yeah, I mean, how well did he have Doherty playing at right wing back for Wolves?
Yeah, he was class.
I think was he 2 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be scary. So one to keep an eye on. I think I'll be doing quite a few blocks, like you say, Tottenham, United, Liverpool. Obviously, Van Dijk being out's a miss, but I think a block Liverpool defence there with Trent, Robbo, Konate, who looks an absolute machine. He's a huge guy. He is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him marking me. And then obviously you got the likes of City and Chelsea. Like you say, James, are Chelsea's fixtures really that bad? I think Chelsea became a little bit fixture-proof last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, they start with Crystal Palace at home and then Arsenal away. Is Arsenal a bad fixture for them now? Sorry, Arsenal fans.
We always seem to slate Arsenal.
Liverpool away is obviously a tricky one, but that could be, we're probably only looking at defensive assets at the moment for Chelsea anyway, I think.
Definitely.
Unless you want to take a gamble on Timo Werner, Tony.
There's such a rotation risk, aren't they? The front midfielders and the strikers.
Well, yeah, and who knows? They might buy somebody. It could all change.
Yeah.
But I won't be looking at any Chelsea offensive players. I'll be looking at the defence mainly at the moment. I mean, Havertz could be. He did finish the season quite well, but I'm not going to gamble on him at this stage, I don't think.
It's a shame they've changed him to a forward, haven't they, in the game?
Have they? I hadn't spotted that. So, right. Well, I think that's his out of the window unless he hits some serious form, because those striker spots are like gold dust, aren't they, really?
Yeah. That's not very nice of them, that.
No.
Not very nice. Right. Well, as we're touching on some players, let's delve into. We're going to touch on some defensive options, some cheap options, some mid-range, and some obviously who's the star men for you. So go on, James. We'll pass this over to you first.
Well, I've put down an expensive option, a mid-price option, and a cheaper option. For my expensive option, I've gone for Trent. I think Liverpool will be a lot stronger again this season defensively. Although I am slightly concerned that the last 2 seasons Liverpool haven't started particularly well defensively. Last year, I had the Liverpool block virtually, and they started dropping price like a stone. Just be wary that they don't necessarily start that well defensively. But he is my top pick. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka's good value at 3.5 million, so I've gone with him for my mid-price option. And then I've put down a couple of cheapies because that's what everyone's looking for at the moment, isn't it? These enablers that help you build your team to get these star players in. I suspect you guys may have already written him down as well. I've got Doherty. He's only 2 million, I believe, for Spurs. We'll certainly be looking at the last couple of pre-season games when you tend to get a more settled side to make sure that he's starting. He's got Aurier as his competition there. I heard that Aurier wanted to move on, so we'll see what happens there. But if Doherty can nail that position down, obviously he's used to playing under the manager. If he gets back to those attacking ways like he did for Wolves, then he could be a bargain. The other option I put down James Justin, but I don't know if he's fit yet, and I was hoping Ben might give us some insight on him because he's cheap.
Apparently he's going to be out till Christmas.
Is he?
Yeah,
right.
I noticed he was 2 million, and I put him straight in, and then I checked the injury news, and he's still out till Christmas. So he's been training, so I don't know. Maybe he'll come back in November, but still, he won't be available for the first game of the season.
I've seen a few drafts with him in.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening and got him in, get him out.
Yeah. Well, here's one for you. Instead, if he's not playing, and Castañas might miss the start of the season, he should start the season, but he might miss it. Ryan Bertrand's just signed for Leicester. He's 2 million.
He's here.
Yeah, you got him on your list.
He's on my list.
He's back up though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Bring him in for until Justin's back then.
Yeah. Well, it's a short month. And you've got 5 transfers anyway, so you can move things about, can't you? I think he's one to keep an eye on. One to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's a good shot, Ben. Thanks.
What about Ricardo?
Ricardo, he captained the side yesterday in the friendly. But he's fit, but at the moment he looks like he's the main right back. But like you say, Castagna can play both sides, so at the moment it's all up in the air. You don't really know if they're going to play 3, they're going to play 4 at the back. Yeah. It's still pre-season. He's only played 1 game, so still probably got Charity Shield as well to watch. Community Shield against City, so that'll give you a good idea what the formation will be.
Yeah. Well then, Ben, who else have you got on your defensive list?
Well, Harry Maguire, 4.5 million.
Yeah.
He's Sun Dream Team darling. They love him.
We do.
Mid price, I would say Konate at Liverpool. He looks like he's the missing gem in defence that need to go beside Van Dijk when he's back.
Definitely. And
then they'll look like a top. Well, they're a top side, but I mean like top defence that'll be solid. Then I think. So he's 3.5 million. There's a couple of players just below that I thought quite interesting. I looked at West Ham and Soufal is 3.5, which is good. But then I seen Crespo was 3 million, which is cheaper, and he's got free kicks, corners, clean sheet potential. I thought that was good little enabler.
And Europe as well, yeah. West Ham, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very cheap for a European player. I mean, who's they got here? What's their opening games? Newcastle, Leicester, Crystal Palace, Southampton. It's not a bad opener.
Yeah.
Obviously, Leicester aside. Obviously, Leicester's a tricky game, but Newcastle, Palace and Southampton is a good start. And then on to the European games.
Yeah.
Good spot.
And my cheap one is Ashley Young. He looks like he might be playing left back instead of target, but we don't know really, do we yet? 2 million. I think that's good cheapie. Could be on corners, free kicks, but it's still early days, so it's not gospel.
Yeah.
But keep your eye on him.
I like Matty Cash at Villa.
Yeah,
good
right back in he.
Yeah, other formats has always done well. Obviously, looking at Villa assets because of their fixtures, the start, and let's say having the five transfers, it means you can just properly attack these early games, and usually you won't be looking at Brighton assets or Villa assets, but just think, gives us the opportunity to be able to go a little bit rogue to begin with. Defensively, I mean, Trent Alexander for your high end, maybe as well Maguire. Trent, obviously the output he could put forward. I think that Konate signing is huge. When Van Dijk comes back, I could see Liverpool going back to, obviously not last season, but the season before with the amount of clean sheets. With Alisson behind, I could see their assets being, massively priced by the middle of the season. Definitely think if you're going to be getting on the Liverpool defence, it's going to be early. United, they've got a decent run. United, and it's pretty cheap. Lindelof is he's the weak link. But now they have just lost Luke Shaw and Tellez, haven't they? So they've not actually got a left back to start the season with, have they?
Brandon Williams, maybe.
Yeah, he's always looked all right, but weren't he a right back?
No, he's actually left-footed, but they played him at right back in a few games.
Right.
So
they accommodate him. Right, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon Shaw will be fine because I've also read what you've read, but if you've ever broken your ribs, they don't. I know they're professional athletes, but surely it'll be recovered from a broken rib by the start of the season. I think reports of him being out are probably overstated, but we'll see. We'll know nearer the time, won't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Again, we're still over 2 weeks out, so like I said, these aren't anybody that we're saying definites for now. But yeah, I've got down here Leicester, the defensive options for Leicester, because I do think they'll be overlooked. Bertrand, Pereira, obviously got Sionchu, Johnny Evans, Fofana, some really good players there, and obviously with decent fixtures, Europe. Obviously, I've got all Spurs defensive. I mean, you got Reguilon at 3 million, and you know how much Nuno Santos loved a wing back. Obviously, Doherty we just touched on. Reguilon, obviously, he loves getting forward anyway.
Yeah.
But then if he's going to play 3 at back with 2 wing backs, is it not playing right into the hands of Reguilon at 3 million? He could be an absolute assist machine.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
he was unlucky last year not to get more attacking returns.
He looked good.
Yeah.
He always passed the eye test.
Yeah.
He just didn't seem to. Another one, like obviously, it's quite cheap, decent start, decent fixtures. Everton, Digne, 3 million. I think that's probably the lowest he's been in a couple of years priced. Obviously didn't return as much last year. And his mate next to him, Michael Keane, loves a goal, loves a clean sheet. I think, Everton's fixtures to start with. Obviously, having the cup game in there as well. I'm sure they want to do well. Rafa want to do well in the cups. So Southampton, Leeds, cup game, and then Brighton, then Burnley. Could see a couple of clean sheets in there. So maybe another team to look at a block early doors. And that's it for my defensive options. So we already touched on Villa. We jump across to the midfielders. You want to go first with mids, James?
Yeah, sure. Pretty obvious pick for my expensive option, which is Fernandes, second highest scorer in Dream Team last year. I think he's absolutely essential. He was essential last year. I don't see any reason why he won't be essential this coming year as well. That's a boring pick. For my mid-price option, I've got Torres of Man City down, playing in midfield, 3.5 million, I think.
Yeah.
If he is playing up top for City, if they don't sign Kane or any other striker, and he gets a run of games as a number 9, I think he could be an absolute bargain. Even if he doesn't play every minute, he could be, for 3.5 million, he could provide good value. For my cheaper option, I've gone with Dele Alli. So, if Santos can get him up and running again, they clearly they haven't got rid of him. So, new manager coming in, Dele's going to want to impress. He could potentially be an option again. He hasn't been for a couple of years. I think he's got talent there. If Santos can get the best out of him, then he could be an option.
Definitely. I think we spent a bit too much time together last year because he's on here as well. He's got goals in his locker. He's got assists in his locker. Like you say, it's a clean start for him. It's a fresh start, a clean slate. Go on, Ben.
Just going into that Bruno stat. Bruno, I just looking at the stats from last year. He got 104 points more. Sorry, nearly 100 points more than the next midfielder.
Yeah.
Got like 94 points more than Foden. Incredible, isn't it?
You can't afford not to have him at that, can you?
No.
Are they going to get as many penalties this year, though? Do you reckon?
It's Man United, isn't it? It's standard.
Yeah.
That sounded quite bitter, didn't it?
It did.
And
See,
to go
that's my closet City fan coming out there.
and to go with your alley, what about Lucas Moura?
Yeah, definitely too much time together.
Yeah.
Because bit of a Portuguese Brazilian connection, maybe might play in Portugal. They have so many Brazilian players playing in that league; it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like he used to be the manager of Porto, didn't he, as well? So they've got hundreds of Brazilians in that league.
I think as well for Lucas Moura, it's good that you touched on him because I know Lamella's just. I think today is he tomorrow he's sealing his deal to Sevilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that opens it for Moura to play a bit more often. I know obviously they've rotated quite a bit. You're probably looking obviously Kane moving on. You probably look at Son more central, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And then maybe Moura and Bergwijn playing if he sticks to a 3. Either
We've
side
got this
of him.
the lad they're swapping him for, Brian Hill. Brian Hill.
Yeah.
He's coming in from Sevilla. So he's supposed to be a little maestro. Left wing
Is
the
he?
maestro. Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see.
So that's kind of a like for like swap that they've done then.
No, it's different sort of plays, like small winger. Like they do. Well, I don't want to say it again because everyone says, "Oh, it's the next Messi" or something like that. But they say like, he's got low centre of gravity sort of player, and he can nip about the pitch.
Is he as angry as Lamella?
No,
He's an angry man, Lamella, and he loves a red card.
Lamella had so much potential. It's unbelievable. Well, he had the
Yeah.
potential. He just didn't fulfil it.
Yeah,
Yeah, could have been a good player. Him.
very, very good. I think he did not have a bad injury when he first came
Yeah.
to Spurs.
Yeah.
I think that stalled him a little bit, didn't he? He signed for massive money from Roma, didn't he?
Was
Back in
it
the day.
Roma or Inter? I can't remember.
I think it was Roma.
He was quite a lot of money, I think. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they used
Big money.
the Bell money for him. It was back that
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
back a
Yeah,
long,
yeah.
long time ago.
that 40 million from Roma. I'd a guess.
I have a running joke with my Spurs mate. Every year he says this is going to be Lamella's year. So
Yeah, it will be, or in Sevilla.
yeah, it won't be this year, unfortunately. Our joke has ended.
Yeah. Right. Well, I've got to go with Kevin De Bruyne, haven't I? 6 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his fitness like? Is he going to be fit for the start of the season?
Should be fit for the start of the season. Yeah. As far as I know.
He said he was playing without Achilles at some point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Playing with snapped Achilles, or I heard some.
Yeah, because he was
somewhere, I thought.
playing with an injury in the last match, wasn't he, against
Yeah.
Italy in the Euros?
Yeah. Quite a few injections went into his ankles, I
Yeah.
suspect.
Um.
Which Man City will be well pleased about, won't they? Paying his wages, 300
Yeah, I
grand,
know,
and Belgium were injecting him to get into player. But
Well, it's probably his choice. You know what I mean?
yeah, probably.
Right. Mid price. I'm going for Harvey Barnes. Hopefully he's back and ready for the start of the season.
Yeah,
I think he's going to kick on again this year and do even better. Scored quite a few goals last year. Unlucky to miss out on the England squad in the end, obviously because he got
Definitely.
injured.
yeah. I think it was he had to go, didn't he? He were on fire. Such a shame that injury come at a nasty time for him.
Yeah, he got into he got into the England squad, and then he got injured before the next squad announcement.
Yeah.
And cheapo, I've gone for ESM.
Yeah.
Who's ESM?
Emil Smith
Emile
Rowe.
Smith
Yeah. I couldn't be bothered writing his full name down.
It's ESR. Is it
Oh,
not?
is he? Oh, I've put Alan
You
Alan Saint Maxima, haven't I?
you shortened it down and didn't get it right.
Well, anyway, yeah, 2.5 million. I think that's a snip. That
definitely. He did look good last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good option. Like you say, if he does get the game time, it's going to be tricky, isn't it?
Did you play a lot better when he's in the side?
Definitely.
I hope they give Willock a chance. Joe
But
Willock.
I last read they're still trying to sell him.
Yeah.
So I don't think. I mean, if you're Willock now, do you really want to stay there? People are like, sod them. I'm off.
Bit of a similar situation as Lingard, hasn't he? Got like he's had a good season, but he probably won't play at his parent club.
Yeah. I think they're after big money, aren't they? They're after about 30 million for him, for Willock. I'm not too sure about Lingard, but I think they're after about 30 for Willock. Obviously,
I think Lingard
that's actually
he
what
wants
we're
to
doing.
stay.
Yeah, apparently he's going to play. Oh, he's going to get a chance.
He scored, didn't he? After when they got beat off QPR.
Yeah, scored 4-2, wasn't it?
I mean, I've got Lingard wrote down here as a low price option. If he does stay at United and he does get game time, I mean, his form last year were incredible. Surely he deserves a chance, even if it's for 3 or 4 games.
I just can't see where he's going to fit in.
No.
Especially with Sancho's just signed.
Yeah.
I think he plays best sort of. It's like more of a free role sort of number 10, isn't he? But he's not going to get that at Man United with Fernandes there, is he?
Yeah.
That's his
No,
role.
it's true.
Best he can hope for is backup.
Yeah.
Can sit on the bench with Donny van der Beek.
That's most expensive bench warmer ever.
Yeah.
Van der Beek. Right, I'll see what I've got on here. Obviously, the usual Fernandes, De Bruyne. Do we think Foden's overpriced at 5.5 million? Or do you think he's going to finally get the game time every week?
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they've overpriced him.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mahrez and Sterling, the early rumours about them being transfer listed. Now, did notes come out after that? I've not heard anything since. But are they being used to fund this Kane move?
Maybe.
If they were offering them to me and I was a Tottenham owner and with cash, I'd snap their hands off.
Yeah.
Sterling and Mahrez.
But then if you're Mahrez, Sterling, do you want to go to Spurs?
Probably not. And play in the Conference League.
Yeah. It's a strange
we've
one.
Our North London listeners tonight, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, just wait until season starts. But yeah, so Mahrez, I mean Sterling, I don't think I give him any bit of good press last season. I think I slated him probably every single week. But then
same here.
In the Euros he come alive. And at one point, I admit this, I did grab the TV and kiss his face. And I was like, this is it. We're bonded now, Sterling. We're mates now. He played so well. He was back to his best, though. After the first couple of games, he started playing without fear. And it's so good to see, watching him just drive at people, beating a man and having a bit of an end product. It was good to see. And at 4.5 million, if he's still Pep's darling, because don't forget, he probably one of the players that started most of the games for Pep last year. Until towards the end, obviously, it dwindled away. But I mean,
I've got him in my dream team tonic team at the moment. With the move back to midfield at that price, what was he? He was 7.5 last year or something ridiculous. He was the most expensive player, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he's 4.5 now.
Yeah,
and I mean, if he stays, and if that's just a rumor, vicious rumor that's going round, he's a shoo-in for me.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I think
they play the Community Shield first, don't they? So you get to see him play a competitive game before the first game of the Dream Team.
Good point.
Yeah. And obviously Mahrez, he'd be one that again, you just have to leave in this year. We're not doing the orky corky with him and trying to time when he comes good. Mason Mount, I had to bring him up, didn't I?
Yeah.
Midfield option, my mate Mount. Obviously, Chelsea's fixtures, they're said to be difficult. It's not that. They're tricky, but there's some tricky ones in there. But Mason Mount.
Bit dearer this year, isn't he, Mount?
He is. I think he was 3 million last year. 4.5.
I think he's too expensive at 4.5. Personally, he's not. He needs to be playing a further forward to get that, and he needs to have a striker up front that's actually going to bang goals in to get those assist points. I think he's too expensive at 4.5 myself.
Well on, James. Just wait until we get on to Chelsea strikers. I've got a few you wrote down here. No, but yeah, and I'll get you saying Mount at 4.5, Sterling at 4.5. They're both playing. It's got to be Sterling, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a serial 3-point. He'll get you 3 points. He gets a 7 rating. Always plays well. Does the right things, especially for the rating algorithm. I've same as you, changed up Ferran Torres on there, and then for the cheap options, Moura and Ali, 2.5 million a piece, with the 5 games in August. I think one of them's definitely worth a punt. And it'd be interesting, like you,
Brian Hill.
Yeah, Brian Hill. if he comes over, it'd be interesting to see what price he has, and it'd be good to see him in a couple of games before making our mind up about him.
I reckon he'll get 3. I reckon it'll be 3 million. Just guessing.
3 million.
Yeah.
I might go and watch a few Sevilla games from last season, see how good he is.
Yeah.
See if he's as special as that lad Pedri. Because I tell you what, from Euros.
Oh, he was class, wasn't
he? Yeah, very
was
good.
Was he 18 years old or something?
Yeah, unbelievable. Running games at that on the international stage at that age were unreal.
Well, if only they let Bellingham play for England, he'd probably run the games.
Yeah, it's true. He's a player, isn't he?
Yeah. I
did laugh when Birmingham retired that shirt and that, but I do take it back. He's absolutely top drawer. He's a real player for years. He is mature beyond his years, definitely. Right, go on, Ben. I'll give you a first shout on the forwards.
Well, there's a bargain, isn't there? Everyone's going to pick him. Salah, 6 million.
Yeah.
Well underpriced.
Yeah.
He's my man. Mid-price, I would go for Cavani, I think, is going to have a good season. 4 million. Thoughts on Cavani?
Yeah, I think so.
Good option.
Yeah.
He stay fit. I think, obviously, Rashford's out for a few months, is he? Is it a few months? He's had surgery.
Yeah, he's had surgery, hasn't he? He won't be around for a month or two.
Yes, I think that's definitely Cavani nailed for at least first 6 weeks.
Yeah, shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And then cheap player, I've had to come up to 3 million. Greenwood. I think that's a bargain, that, if he's playing. But he was playing at the end of the season, wasn't he? And he was doing really well. There's a player I want to give a shout out to, though. Patson Daka, who just signed for Leicester. He was the Austrian Bundesliga Player of the Year. He got 54 goals in 82 games over 2 seasons, which is pretty impressive, and scored in Europe as well against the top sides in the Europa League and that. He's one to watch.
I was going to ask you about him.
Yeah.
Obviously, is he going to get game time? Is he what we're looking at?
Well, like I say, it's all up in the air because Iheanacho came in for Harvey Barnes and tore it up, didn't he? He was unbelievable at the end of the season. And now Harvey Barnes is back. Will he carry on playing Iheanacho with Vardy, or will he play all 3 of them with Barnes? Or I don't know. Will he give Dak? I don't think Dak will start the season. He'll probably come off the bench, and I think Vardy might start getting rested a bit more because he's a similar sort of style of player apparently. He's fast. He's tall. He can hold the ball up. He's the next Jamie Vardy. So keep your eyes on him.
And just see what happens with Maddison as well, won't it? Obviously, like you say, trying to fit all them players in.
Yeah.
If Maddison stays, where's his place? Do you know what I mean?
Well, they've signed another box-to-box midfielder as well from Lille, Boubacar Soumare. Bit like Decore at Everton, and get box-to-box and do the defensive work as well. So Tielemans was playing in a double pivot with Ndidi last season. Maybe Tielemans will be pushed further forward, and then Maddison won't start. So
that definitely makes Tielemans more an option as well.
Yeah, so they might cash in on Maddison. I hope they don't.
He's off to Arsenal, isn't he?
Pardon?
He's off to Arsenal, isn't he? I hear
he might be going there, but nothing's agreed yet.
No,
I mean sometimes players sometimes have to take steps backward, don't they, to take a step forward? Again,
is that another dig?
Another dig. But yeah, no. In fact, if I were Leicester, I'd snap their hand off for the money that's been touted about. It's probably a player that Arsenal probably need.
Yeah.
Do Leicester need him as much? Probably not.
But if Tielemans gets injured, then we haven't got a number 10.
But then you could probably drop Barnes in behind. Versatile Barnes has been. He got played through middle at some points last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's a striker, wide man. I reckon he could play that number 10 role as well. He's a talented lad.
I don't think Soumare will start the season either because he'll just start the way he probably finished.
Yeah.
And then integrate.
Yeah. Who have you got then, James?
Well, I had a few similar ones to Ben. I've got Cavani and Greenwood on my list, so I'm going to go for something slightly different. Obviously, everyone's going to have Harry Kane if Shumi starts game week 1, which is in slight doubt.
Yeah,
I hear, because he might be coming back from holidays a little bit later. That's one to keep an eye on. I think Mane is going to be a good option this year. He had a poor season last year, and he said he had a poor season. He's been absolutely. He's looking good in pre-season. Looks up for it. He's playing with a smile on his face. We'll have the crowds back. I think it's going to make a big difference. I think Mane will get back to where he was. Unfortunately, Dream Team haven't discounted him too much, which is a little bit annoying. He is 5.5, so he's not. That's not bad. I think he'll provide good value for 5.5. Whether people will go, I mean, with Salah only $500,000 more, I think a lot of people will be going with Salah. I'm considering a double up.
Yeah.
Because I don't think many people will. So I think Mane will be a good option this year. Oh, you were thinking that, Ben?
Yeah.
Keeping your cards close to your chest, I seem, my friend. I don't see going too cheap on the striker options until somebody maybe emerges. I'll probably be going with 2 mid-prices and a Kane. Well, Kane, Salah, and another, maybe Cavani. Possibly, if I can get Mane in there, I will do.
What do you think about actually? This is probably the perfect time to try a mid-priced striker because they have an extra game. The teams are not in Europe.
Sonic's only 5 million, isn't he? I've been thinking about him. He's got 5 games potentially.
Yeah. Like, you could do the old FPL and put Watkins in, Antonio, even Tony, Bamford. Yep. You can give them a chance, can you, in the... Because they've got extra games, and the European games don't kick in until September, really, do they, apart from Spurs?
Yeah. it's something I've been thinking about. Normally, what I do is just pick from the top 6,
Yeah,
7
same,
teams, because you want. Well, you don't want to be having to change your entire side when the European fixtures kick in. But I do think there is some scope for including some of the teams from what you might say lower down the league with the ones that have got good fixtures, like you say, your Antonios, Calvert-Lewins, etc., might be worth. Well, maybe not Calvert-Lewin. He's expensive now, isn't he? You're saying, Tony?
He's priced at $5 million.
I was looking at Antonio. I think he's quite cheap, and obviously, I expect Watkins is not. He's only 3.5 or something. I think.
Watkins at 4.
4. Yeah,
I think he's
could be a good option.
Bit heavy.
Yeah. Certainly worth thinking about.
Yeah, for me, I had circled Salah. That obviously Ben saying that $6 million is cheap for Salah. Penalties, he's a goal machine, and he's going to score points. That's more or less guaranteed. I've got Mane on the list because I think 5.5 for Mane is cheap. Again, he looks up for it. I think last year was a bit of a blip for him. If we get the Mane from 2 seasons ago, I mean, yeah, he's going to be 7 million before Christmas. Son, it'd be interesting to see at Spurs who's on penalties.
If Kane don't play.
Yeah, well, if obviously Kane goes to City, who's going to be on penalties? It'd be interesting to see if Kane goes to City, who's on penalties for City.
Yeah.
Harry
Kane, isn't it?
Yeah. No doubt. Harry Kane will be.
That'll be his contract.
He's good at penalties.
And I think Son will be on penalties. If they're going to have him, he's going to be their main striker. I think Son at 5 million, like you say, 5 games in August. I think he'll be sat on penalties.
Might be Højbjerg might have a say in it, but yeah, I'm sure they'll give Sonny a go. Give it as a
Son though.
I'd say if Højbjerg plays in the position that he plays for Denmark, he'll be a decent option this year in some formats of fantasy football. I know he's already a good one in Sky fantasy football with his tackles and passes, but if he can play further forward, he gets quite a few assists for Denmark. If he did take up penalties, but you'd like to think if Son's signed a bumper deal and Kane's on his way, you'd like to think Son's taking them penalties and he's going to be their main number 9. And then lower down, I've got Antonio, 3.5 million, European games, decent opening fixtures. We just don't know what's happening with his hamstrings, do we? I mean,
G-strings.
It's scary because he's such a good player. If he could just stay fit for a 38-game season, it'd be interesting to see how many goals he could score. He's on penalties, isn't he, for West Ham? They're in Europe. 3.5 million. Does he take up one of your spaces though?
I wouldn't mind having him for the first month.
Yeah,
good fixtures.
There's like you say, the teams. Obviously not West Ham, but like Everton, Villa. There's a little bit of an opportunity to get a bit of cash in bank there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Obviously, DCL. He's at 5 million, so he's probably going to be expected to score more, isn't he?
Yeah.
With the projected points, I think obviously off their value, it will go off that, I guess. So he might be a little bit under pressure, but like say Watkins, 4 million.
Iheanacho, 4 million.
Iheanacho, 4 million.
It's same price as Vardy, 4 million.
Got Bamford. Bamford on penalty for Leeds. These are players that, you wouldn't usually touch, but there could be a decent punt for them first 4 weeks, 3 weeks.
I'd be worried about Rodrigo taking minutes off Bamford. He finished the season quite strongly, didn't he? So
yeah,
that's one to watch for me. That what happens up front for Leeds.
2.5 million, Rodrigo.
And another one, and this really will interest me, and this is obviously why we've not put our drafts out there, because we don't know what's going to happen yet, do we? So much more transfer activity, injuries, friendlies. But Tammy Abraham, if he ends up at West Ham, I think he could be a great option. 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Everyone will have him, won't they? That's the thing. Well, if he goes
Yeah.
to West Ham, I think, yeah, you're right, Tony. He's going to be nailed in a lot of teams.
Yeah. I mean, if I were Arsenal, I'd be going to get him. We're trying my hardest to get him. Arsenal, but
I was going to say, you haven't mentioned the two lads at Arsenal.
Lacazette and Aubameyang.
After the bad season he had.
I'm going anywhere near him, mate. Nowhere near.
5 million.
Lacazette wasn't
5
that bad
million
in
apiece.
spells.
You what?
Lacazette wasn't that bad in spells. At one
Yeah.
point, he was top of the form,
Yeah.
fairly near the end of the season. But the rumours, well, the mumblings that you hear, I'm getting the impression they want to get rid of him, and Abraham might be the man to replace him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an odd one because he was. I think he's not consistent enough, is he? That's the problem.
I don't think he's the actual problem. I think when he hit the top of your form board, I remember this, he then ended up on substitute bench.
Yeah.
The amount of times he'll score a couple of goals and then he's a sub. We don't know what goes on in training, do we? There's lots happens behind the scenes, attitudes and stuff like that. Is he a crap trainer? Does he not put the effort in? He's just one who goes out and does the business now and again. It's tricky. Yeah, Arsenal assets. I did in the midfield thing put Pepe. Is this going to be the year that Pepe?
Yeah.
His talent, because he's a talented player and he can get points. I think he actually he scored quite a few, didn't he?
Yeah, he was one of the highest scoring midfielders.
Yeah, he's deceptive, isn't he? He does it in little bursts. I think his points in Dream Team came from the European fixtures.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's deceptively good.
191 points.
18 points behind De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More points than Mason Mount.
All right.
And Gundogan.
Yeah. I mean, he got the points, like you say, but you have to leave him in all season and just.
He's frustrating. He's a bit like Mahrez. Yeah. Not always worse than Mahrez, really. So he didn't play as many games.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Right, so let's jump into the listeners' questions now. Got quite a few to get through. Obviously, we'll have touched on a lot of this earlier on in the pod, so we'll won't go too far over it if we already have. But so one in from Mike. He's got. He says, Kane and Salah aside, who would your third striker be to kick off the season? So name one striker. Who are we going with, James?
Mane. It's a bit expensive, but if you can get him in there, I think he's a good option.
Yeah, go on, Ben.
Son for me. If Kane's not playing the first few games, Son will be the main man, and they've got the extra games in the Europa Conference League.
Yeah, and Son as well for me. I think they're 5 games. I think main man, new contract. Hopefully on penalties, he's going to play all 5, I would guess. And he's quite a fit lad, isn't he, Son? Have you ever known him to be injured? Has he had any injury issues?
Not any long ones, I can't think of any.
No. I mean, he's had a few red cards, we know that. He can do a few stupid things, but yeah, fitness-wise, he's not somebody you have to doubt in that sense. So yeah, other than Kane and Salah, I'd go for Son, Ben Son. James, Mane, double up on the Liverpool forward line, which is a good option if you can, if you've got the money. If you've got the money to do it.
They've got Norwich up first, so I'm hoping for big scores.
Yeah, it'd be nice. One here from Forward Potman, Dream Team Insider. Will you guys be attacking the early fixtures that are basically making a seasonal template early? With 5 transfers available, do you think there's room for a few educated gambles early on? Go on, Ben.
Yeah, we covered that earlier. I think there is definitely room for some gambles, especially with only being 3 game weeks. 5 transfers. You pick there's half your team's going to be a bit of a seasonal pick, isn't it? But then you can put a couple of gambles in there for the first month, and then you've got 5 transfers to sort it out if it doesn't work.
Yeah. James?
Yeah, I think there's definitely room for some tinkering, especially if you're putting in more than one team. Got to be careful though. You don't go with too cheap an option, because obviously, if you go for that £1 million punt or £2 million even, you need to have a exit strategy and make sure you've either got money in the bank or have another player in mind. Because like those lower price points, you've got to be careful, because you might be stuck with a player and have to make 2 transfers. So that would be my tip for those differential gamble ones.
Yeah, I think with the way, obviously having 5 transfers to start with and only 3 games, quite a short month, I think it's a no-brainer. I think there'll be a hell of a lot of gambles going on, especially when you're putting 10 sides in. I think you probably have 3 or 4 that are like quite season template, but you probably have 6 teams that you're going to try and get ahead, either whether that's value for money or your players, your value rising, or, I mean, you might early doors get on somebody who's going to explode. Like a player like a Watkins or a Iheanacho for Leicester. There's quite a few. Son. Everyone seems to be looking away from Spurs. Obviously, they've had the troubles and stuff. But yeah, I think there's a hell of a lot of options, quite cheap options as well, some of them, where there'll be quite a few gambles.
What about Jota? No one's mentioned him today.
Yeah, it's a strange one, haven't we?
Is he? Do you think he'll get? You think he'll be a starter, James?
It's a tricky one. I don't. He's not going to play every minute, for sure. Yeah. I think sometimes we'll go with all 4 strikers. So Firmino as well. I think Jota and Firmino will share game time, and maybe Jota and Mane might share a bit of game time. I think Salah will get the most minutes. He could still be a good option. I'd like to see his form early on, just to assess him.
Yeah.
We'll one to watch for sure.
I think with Jota, he's such a good impact from the bench anyway. Is that sometimes he's good just to have there, even without the like playing 90 minutes. But yeah, I think the option is Mane this year, isn't it? It is so far anyway, from what I've seen there, what I'm reading.
Yeah.
Right, on to the next question. Big Red Egg. How important is it to go for players who have an easy fixture list for the first one compared to just picking the big players? Again, we are covering quite a lot of what we've already covered, but yeah, just to answer it a bit directly. Go on, James.
I always look at the fixture ticker. It's important to go to keep an eye on those fixtures and make sure you're bearing those in mind. Bear in mind, of course, you've only got 5 transfers, so you can't be changing your entire team. But get your nailed on picks in there, and then put a few differentials in there based on fixtures.
Yeah.
Agree with
definitely. That, and you look at Spurs as well. They've got their extra games. They don't start off with an easy game against Man City, but they're going to have them 2 Europa Conference League. I keep saying it about it, but it's important to know about it, because if Son plays in them or Kane does come back for that game, they could score hat-tricks in them games.
Yeah, I think, obviously, not just the first month, but you got to attack fixtures in every month, especially quantity of fixtures, because there is some teams that are just fixture-proof.
Yeah.
Like City will turn anybody over. They'll score 2 or 3 against anybody. It doesn't matter. Obviously, Chelsea, the defence, when we jumped on the Chelsea train last year, the run of games they had before they went on that crazy run of clean sheets, it was a tricky run of fixtures on paper. You looked at it, but they just wouldn't concede. So sometimes obviously quantity of fixtures as well over the actual on paper difficulty, because of players, teams like City and Chelsea showed last year that you can't just overlook them because of the difficulty of the fixtures. So yeah, so next one, Matt Westwood. Thoughts on Man City centre-back options? Diaz, Laporte and Stones, who's most likely to feature each week? Ben?
It's got to be Diaz and Stones, hasn't it?
Yeah.
They just won the league. They were the formidable centre-back pairing. Laporte might... Well, Pep rotates, doesn't he? Laporte might come in and play left-sided. Might play left-back. He might play left-sided centre-back in a free. But yeah, Diaz and Stones look like the nailed ones for me. Both 4 million as well.
Yeah. Cheap,
I would say Diaz is probably the best option now because he's least likely to get rotated.
Yeah.
I think the other two will share minutes, but like you say, Ben, Laporte's Stones was used a lot more than Laporte last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Laporte is probably the spare part there. Diaz, Stones probably favoured, but he'll put minutes into all their legs, won't he? And I think if you've got to pick one, you go Diaz. If you want to pick two, you go Diaz, Stones. Don't get started on the fullbacks. I mean, Pep Roulette is got Cancelo, Zinchenko, Walker. Yeah, we'll be probably moaning about that all season, won't we? Let's not start yet because we're still in July. But I'm sure Pep Roulette's going to upset a few people. Aman Sattler's been on. Any players from promoted teams for our teams, or should we just ignore? Have we mentioned one? I think Tony got mentioned, didn't he? At one point, just a slight little mention.
I've jotted down some players. Danny Rose, Watford's got a nice start to the season. I think he's a good enabler. 1.5 million. The Watford start with Villa, Brighton, Tottenham, Wolves, Norwich, Newcastle. So you could gain some value on Danny Rose. The keeper, Bachmann. Bachmann. It looks like he's the main guy. 2 million. Foster's the other keeper, isn't he? Ben Foster. But Bachmann seems to be the main one. Janssen, he plays at Brentford. 1 million. I think that's very cheap. Not the greatest of fixtures for Brentford, but look, got a couple of good games. But like you say, another enabler if you want to get all the big hitters in there.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't give him a thought.
Yeah,
because I think if you look at, even like at 2 million, 2.5 million, they're decent enablers at that price. Yeah. I think when you go a bit lower than that, you go into these promoted teams. Look at Norwich, Liverpool, and City first up. I mean, you're not going anywhere near their defenders.
No.
You're not going to look at them. I think, I think it's going to be tough for all three of them sides this season. I know we always say that, and usually one team will surprise. Brentford are good football inside. They could shock a few people.
I think Ivan Toney's a very good player.
He is. Obviously, he's going to be on penalties for Brentford.
Yeah.
As well. So, if they score 30 goals this year, he's probably going to score 15 of them. It's interesting to see. You'd wait if you see Watford, Brentford, and Norwich start picking up points and doing all right. I couldn't take a punt, could you, James?
I won't be. I very much doubt I'll be starting the season with any promoted players. But like you say, if Ivan Toney comes to the Premier League and starts replicating his Championship form, then you got. I think I wouldn't rule it out, but I won't be starting with any.
But then even still, so if Ivan Toney, if he say he scores 3 hat-tricks in the first 3 games, he's right up there. Are you going to take out Salah, Mane, or Kane and put Ivan Toney in?
Well, that's the beauty of your dream team. You've got 10 teams, haven't you? So you can do a couple of gambles.
It's true. Yeah, you could stick him in elsewhere.
Maybe not in your main team, but you could put him in a team that you're like, I'll just mess about with this one and see what I can do with it. If it comes off, then I can carry on with it.
Yeah, or in a mini league that pays monthly, who does a top month scorer.
Yeah.
There's not a huge amount of bargains this year that are literally screaming he's underpriced. Like, was it 2 seasons ago? Mason Mount, he was like, he was 1 million, I think. I had him in, and then I've had the likes of Adama Traore in from the off because I'm like, he's underpriced. There's no one screaming at me. I mean, I might have mentioned Dele Alli, but I don't believe in him as much as I did in players from previous seasons. I don't think anyone's screaming at me. This is a bargain. You've got to have him in as an enabler. We are short on enablers. We might get some more information as we get closer to the season. Keep an eye on those pre-season fixtures, I think. See if anyone's popping out, emerging, etc.
Yeah. Next one, Fergie's apprentice. So he's going off the news, obviously, that Kane's missing the first game week, which we're all hearing. Again, we'll probably know more what's going on, whether he's been sold to City, whether he's staying at Spurs. We'll know more next week or so. But so he's saying with Kane out, if he's out in the first game week, what striker would you replace him with? He's saying he's going to leave 3 million in the bank just to bring him back in for the game week 2. And he also says, can't wait to have you guys back because we are brilliant. Which is always nice to hear, isn't it?
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Fergie's apprentice.
Yeah, go on, James. So, who would you be swapping Kane for premium strike?
First, I'm not 100% sure he's not going to play that first game. If he doesn't, then I think it might be something to do with the fact he might be going to Man City, who they're playing. But if he is out, and I think we will know before the start of the season, like I said, I think Mane's a good option. I would definitely be leaving some money in the bank to get him back in.
Definitely.
He's consistently been one of the highest performers for a number of years in Dream Team. Get star man on a regular basis. You've got to have him in your side, I think. So yeah, by all means, bring in a Mane or a Cavani or a backup. But yeah, make sure you leave some money in the bank to get him, so you can get him straight back in because you're gonna want him in there, I think.
Yeah, go on, man.
Yeah, well, we pretty much covered it before. Son will be the one I'd bring in if Kane's not starting.
Would you be leaving money in the bank for him then, bring him back in?
I'm not too worried about that. It's a good tactic to do, but you've got 5 transfers anyway, so you could do 2 transfers to bring him back in.
Yeah, work around it.
You could take money out of your goalkeeper or your defender or something and just bring an enabler in and then put Kane back in.
Yeah, it's such a short month.
Yeah.
The options are endless, really. We're going to find it quite easy in August to really have a massive tinker around with the team because no sooner have you spent your 5 transfers in August, you've got a new 5 for September.
Yeah.
And you could easily use 1 or 2 of them early doors and then just save the rest and have your team set. So yeah, don't. It might be a good idea, Fergie's apprentice, to probably spend that 3 million elsewhere. Set your team up for the first fixture too. See what happens with Kane, and then, like you say, like Ben says, just use a couple of transfers and bring him back in, rather than leaving 3 million in your bank and having some half-horse player on you in your 11 that you don't really want, just to enable you to get Kane in. Moving on, Connor. Right, best players 2.5 million under this year. I think we have touched on it quite a bit, haven't we? You look no further than Spurs. Just go to the Spurs team and just look down at it. I think they're the value, aren't they?
Yeah, I think Spurs are the ones that could be provide the bargains this year. Maybe West Ham. Souček's 3.5 though, I think, isn't he? I'm just trying to check that. Yeah, Souček's out of the price bracket. There's not a lot in that bracket, is there, at 2.5 million? Like I was saying, we've yet to discover these enablers, but they might present themselves before the start of the season.
Yeah, I think they're going to sneak in from that Spurs squad.
Yeah.
Is any you spotted, Ben?
I spotted, Pickford and Sanchez, they're under 2.5 million for keepers. Young, 2 million. And obviously there's a few Villa defenders in there. And they've got a nice start. Dunk at Brighton's 2.5 million, captain, and he's on the free kicks. So he's worth a punt. He scores a few goals a season.
Yeah.
The Tottenham fullbacks, I don't know who's going to play. Aurier or Doherty, 2 million each. I think Doherty will start just because of his connection. And
old mates.
Right back at Arsenal, Bellerin's supposed to be going to. I can't remember who's supposed to be going there to now. Where's he supposed to be going to?
Is it Inter Milan?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he goes, then it opens up for Cedric Suarez, and he's only 1.5 million.
Good player, Cedric.
Yeah.
I think they'll replace Bellerin if he goes. But yeah, if he doesn't, then
they've got Ainsley Niles, haven't they? He can play fullback. And you've got Masuaku at West Ham. So if they play a 5 at the back and then Masuaku plays the left wing back, that's 1.5 million. He's in Europe as well, so it's quite a good enabler.
Good shout. And then going back to the Bellerin thing, I think Arsenal have. I don't rate him, Bellerin. I think he's been one of the most overrated players for years. And I think that's Cedric Suarez is probably a better player. But just my opinion. Is that me slagging Arsenal players off again?
Yeah, we just the last gunner we had listening is just switched off.
Yeah, lights out.
We're only joking, Arsenal fans.
No, we're not. No, he's crap. but it's not a dig at Arsenal. Obviously, they're going through a transition, aren't they?
Yeah.
But Bellerin, flattered to deceive for years. So they could get a bit of money for him. They'd do all right. Some decent shouts there, Ben. That Masuaku one I like for West Ham, especially him being in Europe. Dan Cox, no question, just wants to say keep up the good work, and he's going to stick 3 teams in mini league.
Nice one.
Keep up the good work, lads.
Cheers, Dan.
It was nice to hear. Right, we did put this out to the public, but we didn't get much messages. But we did get one, which is a pretty decent one off Mike. His funniest team name. His team name's Fred West Ham. pretty brutal, but yeah, I like it in a weird way. So we've each picked out a few of our favourites to have a bit of a readout. Go on, James, I'll let you go first, mate. I'll read out your funniest team names.
Your mum's a whore?
That weren't directed at me, was it?
It's Zahor, the player, Tony. I wasn't talking about your mum.
That lad for Cardiff.
Connie Lingard.
He's like Connie Lingard's sister.
Just made a comeback. And a topical one, Guilty Pleasures. Ooh. Swiftly moving on.
Yeah, go on. I've got a few. Third cock from the sun. Yeah. You ABBA fans. It is ABBA, isn't it? Knowing me, knowing you.
Zaha.
Love that one. Love that. And how about this? Up the Duffy. Go on, Ben. What have you got?
Digestive Busquets.
That's a bit more general.
This one's an old one, but I've seen it a few times. I like it. Murder on Zidane's floor.
Yeah, good one.
Another one. Shamak my pitch up.
The good old player Marwan Shamak.
Yeah,
Shamak him a bitch up.
the old Arsenal Crystal Palace striker.
So if anyone can top them, get them sent in, and you get a shout out on the pod, next week's pod. Do love a good name.
We've missed a good one, Tony. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go on.
What about Finding Timo?
We couldn't find him last year.
Yeah, I'm still looking for him. To be fair, I mean, my finishing position of whatever it was, about 1800th last year. I played the season with 10 men. I had Tim win it for that long. So, definitely can't be called a professional when you're holding on to Werner for that long.
It's Werner's year this year.
Yeah, he's never been a bad finisher. He's never been a bad finisher. He's gone to Chelsea. Don't know. I'm not going to go down that route. We'll see it. We'll see. When we're going through our first teams, you'll see where I've took the punt or not. We have got the overall ownership up on here. We'll have a quick scan of it. Not too in depth because this is going to be changing day by day. Most owned, Harry Kane. If the rumours are true, 59% of teams have got him in. Hell of a lot of teams. If he's not going to play at first game, I'm sure that'll change. Mo Salah, De Bruyne, Fernandes, usual suspects. Luke Shaw, obviously rumoured injured at the moment, broken rib. Whether he's going to be injured, we don't know. Jack Grealish, obviously future up in the air. 40% have got him in. Whether he ends up at City, which it is rumoured, we don't know. Like I say, a couple of weeks to go. Next on the list, quite highly owned, Ruben Diaz, Harry Maguire, Trent Alexander, Raheem Sterling, Mason Mount. All usual suspects. These Ederson, Cavani, Van Dijk. He's not really fit for the start of the season, is James?
No, both Van Dijk and Gomez haven't even played any preseason minutes yet. They're being brought back slowly. If you follow the Blood Red podcast or somebody like James Pearce on Twitter, all the experts are saying that they reckon it's going to be Matip and Konate that start the season. How long for Matip will probably get injured on the second or third game, and then that might be the opportunity for Van Dijk to come back. But we'll see. But yeah, I wouldn't start with Van Dijk unless you get some news, because it doesn't look like he will be starting the season.
So if you're the 22.9% that have got him in, take him out and just see what happens. Konate is a good shout. John Stones next. Robertson, Liverpool. Jamie Vardy's on there, Ben.
Yeah.
18.8%, which, like you say, is a bit of a shock. I think, I say he's slowing down. He's not slowing down. He didn't have as much of a prolific season yet last year, but
started well, but didn't end the season very well.
But on the eye test, he's still got his pace about him. He doesn't seem to be getting old and sluggish. He doesn't seem to be losing that pace. So, like you say, they start to manage his minutes, though. We'll see, obviously, with the arrival of Daka. But yeah, he's up there. He's on one of the top owned lists. Phil Foden, I think pricey at $5.5 million in 18.7% teams. Sancho, everyone loves a new player. I think we've seen that last year with Chelsea with the Havertz and Werner. Everyone gets excited. Is he going to take time to settle? I don't know. He's from. This is his country, innit? He's an English lad. He don't have to settle over here, does he?
Shouldn't have to.
Always risky when you've got a player coming from the German league to Premier League. I think I won't be taking.
Werner.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true.
You can always bring him in, can't you? See how he gets on.
It's true. He's not $4.5 million. If he starts like a house on fire, what you're going to be paying 5 million for him? Yeah, fair enough. And then Son's there at the bottom of that list, 16%. Wise choice after signing his new contract. I think we touched on loads. I think it's one of the longest episodes we've done. Blew the dust off, so to speak. Obviously, so next week we will be back with... Our next pod will actually be with Fergie. So there'll be 4 of us next week. So we'll try... It'll probably be a long one again, but we'll probably touch a little bit more in depth on our teams because we'll know a bit more. So yeah, week commencing the 2nd of August, we'll be recording for that. We won't be too far away from the start of the league then. Probably start showing you a few of our drafts and how we're building our sides. Hopefully you found this a little bit useful, our thoughts. Hopefully it helps you build a good team and a winning team. Again, like I say, get across to our website, dreamteamtonic.com. Be able to follow our blogs on there for all the different fantasy football games. Give us a follow, give us a subscribe. If you've not yet signed up to the Fantasy Football Hub, get across there. All the tools that they use on there are amazing. The fixture tickers, the planners, all sorts on there to help you out. You can find us on there as well. So it's been a good reunion. Good to get you guys back on and have a really good chat about Dream Team, about football.
It's nice to get back together, yeah.
Definitely. Like I say, weekly thing now. Push Mrs. back outside and that's it. We're back on it. Football's back. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.